The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, Residential, Commercial, Industrial Services, what they do at CC Electric. And the Louie Bellina Show on a Wednesday, noon. Tony Catalina, Gig'Em 247, joins me inside the Charles Schwab studio. Tony, A&M, all things A&M, Maroon and White Universe. It's what he does. What's up, brother?
What's going on?
It's over. The 25-26 season, basically, I believe, track and field's still rolling now?
Yeah.
But basically, it is done. And today, and I'll ask you a little bit later, we're final grading. And whether it's individual sports, the big three, or the final athletic department grade, and that's the one that fascinates me more, final grading. But with you, what's your final grade for Aggie Baseball? Because it's conflicting for me, and for a lot of people too, where you compare it to a year ago, but does that mean I should put away my expectations for Aggie Baseball in general? Because you do have to do the reality check of it's year two of a new coach, and they did do what they did last year, but how much does that put away what Aggie Baseball should be? And how do you temper this? How do you figure out what it should be, the grade?
No, it's a great question. And right before I came here, an hour ago, actually, I put out my season grades. So you can check it out on the site. But for me, it's a great question, because when you look at this season, it's almost like you had to look at it like all these years are a roller coaster, right? Because at the beginning of the season, expectations were on the floor.
They were 13th picked in the SEC and unranked to start the year. That's where it started.
100%. And keeping that in mind is when you tell you, like, if somebody sits here and say, like, the season wasn't a success, I don't know if they're being honest, right? Because year one, going into year two, the question was, what is this going to look like? Last year was an abject failure, right? No doubt about it. Like everybody said, last year wasn't the standard. It wasn't enough, and that's the fact. Now you sit here and say, hey, you're a top 12 team. You got to host a regional. You win 2 games. You should have, it's all of a sudden it changes, right? Everyone's feelings about you. Now you got to be a super regional team. Now it's Omaha, but you weren't having that same conversation in February. You weren't having that same conversation in March, in my opinion. So the recent history would tell you that this team should have been in a super regional, right? They should have made it. They started 2-0 on their home field, and they had a chance to go and get it. But then you look at the minutia and the mind. Pitching was a problem. Pitching has been a problem all year, right? Their best pitcher goes down. That at the most important time of the season, he becomes unusable. He's injured, can't pitch. You're already thin. You're already struggling. Your Friday.
He was your only weekend starter.
That's it. That's all you had. Weston Moss gave you everything he had, and he looked great in his outing against Texas State. Clayton Freshcorn in his first start, at least with A&M, it might have been his first start in his collegiate career at this point, and gave you everything he got. If you just had 1.5 starting pitching going into the regional, I think you would have been in a good spot. They just didn't have what they needed to at the end of the day. So I say all that to say you got to come away with this is a positive, comparatively speaking, for where they were last year. They missed it. They were bad last year.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Can I hit you with this?
Sure.
It has a supposition in there that we have to accept that they started at 13, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's unacceptable, though. That's not Aggie Baseball. No. So to give credit for that, they started 13. How awesome. They're 3. Well, they should be 3.
Sure. But then when you
is that unacceptable? Is that bad thinking?
I don't know if it's bad thinking, but it's a tough box to put you in. I guess maybe that's the state of fandom these days. Is like, hey, we know what you were. We're going to ignore that because this is what we think you are. Well,
okay. Next question. What is Aggie Baseball? Because it's a program that believes it's a top 10. I'm going to stick with fan base. I don't want to speak for Aggie Baseball. I don't do dinner with Aggie Baseball, but from the investment, it looks like facility. From the investment, we'll say from the fans, and we've seen what the alumni investment can do. We saw that team that they got portal help and more. That was preseason number 1. So we believe that the alumni investment is there.
Sure.
The belief system is it's a top 10 team.
Well, let me ask you that. Let me ask you this before I get into this question.
No, it's good.
Do you believe that this is a blue blood baseball program?
No.
Then I think they're right where they are. Right, they're a team that should be competitive. They should be in the super regional Omaha conversation every year. They should be in that conversation. Now, if you're not every year, it's because I don't know if you are a blue blood, right? Like the expectation is that you can.
They're not a blue blood. They're not in Omaha enough to be a blue blood. Correct. They don't have national championships.
100%.
They're not a blue blood.
So this feels, I wouldn't say par for the course, but it feels like right around in that median range of what they can and could be, right? Like Omaha 2 years ago, you missed the playoffs, then you're back in the regional again. Like That's the ebbs and flow of a team that's, I mean, how many programs, and I'm not trying to, compare here, but how many programs would be ecstatic to be, one game away from a championship and then be back in the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years, and okay, you had a coach change and everything was up and
The
arms.
answer is most, actually.
Right.
It's the majority.
Right. And I understand how everybody felt about the coaching staff, and, I'm not going to dance on anybody's, dismissal here, but I think a lot of the conversation about Coach Kelly and what the pitching staff was absolutely right. I think the fans understood it wasn't enough. Now we sit here and they figure out this hire is probably most important than anything else they got going on. Who is going to be the pitching coach? How does that change everything? Because as good as the offensive was at times, and the way Michael Early kind of took over and became the hitting coach de facto again, and that offense became top 3 in the conference, and we can talk about them wilting in some moments, but statistically speaking, they were a really, really potent offense this year. The pitching just didn't do it. It wasn't enough. If pitching was average this year, they're probably in Omaha.
No, because the offense is what failed against
Sure,
USC.
sure.
I'm being hypocritical here.
Absolutely.
You know that,
right? Absolutely.
And that's the part about the whole failure in the regional that just kills me.
Yeah.
It was the offense that failed.
Right. Isn't that like I laugh?
They average 9 runs a game. They score 9 runs in game 7. They're in a super. Just score your average.
Yeah, I laugh and jest about that because it's like you're right. Like, is that so Texas A&M?
What you said is 100% correct. I don't want to seem like I'm dismissing you.
Absolutely. But like I laugh jokingly because, hey, all they had to do was be themselves and they would have been fine. And it wasn't what they got them there is what ultimately dragged them down, right? Clayton Freshcorn pitches out of his mind, right? I mean, maybe you can question if he was in too many batters, 1 or 2 batters, a half an inning, whatever the case may be. My man gave you everything he had, and you had an opportunity, and you still had a chance, and you didn't get it done.
And you know how different it is if the A&M offense is rolling and you're actually putting pressure on USC versus them just sitting in the cradle being relaxed the whole time?
Sure.
It's different if you're pressuring them.
100%. I mean, he went out there and he's rolling through 4 or 5 innings. I'm like, if you would have told me coming in this game that he was going to give you 5 strong, 6 strong, and then you get in that, and all right, now there's some like things going on here. He's getting touched up a little bit. It's if they could have just nipped it right in the bud where it needed to, and maybe left that game 3-1, 5-1, not 7-1. I mean, it's we're in a different situation here, but yeah, it is unfortunate. And I talked about that in my grades for the story that came out today. It was just like, the production was there all year long, and I understand you can't forget the fact that when it mattered the most, they scored 4 runs in 2 games. Like, it's just not going to get it done, right? So ultimately, you hate to say it because everybody deals with it, but attrition, talent became a problem with the pitching staff. Injuries became a problem. Chris Akopian didn't play the field for the last month and a half, so it changed the way you look at the lineup. Gavin's playing third. Nico was hurt. We never get to see Nico, the pitcher, which we talked about all year, was supposed to be a pitching arm. Second base was musical chairs. There was a lot going on, right? And then Jorian Wilson steals a job at right field, and then he goes into a slump, and then Terrence Keel comes and gives him. It's just that's the way it is, right? And I think sometimes in a lot of sports, you can say this about every sport, it's not usually the best teams, it's the hottest teams, right? You see a team like UCLA was wire to wire, the best team in baseball. I watched them in Arlington. I'm like, these look like the Monstars, right? Like, these guys look unbelievable, and they don't even make it out of a regional. So it's just one of those things where it's perfect timing and talent have to come together to make the perfect execution. And it's a long answer, but I think you got to look at this in a vacuum and say it was a objective, successful season. Now you can have your own skew on it and say it could have been better, and I wouldn't disagree with you.
What was your grade again? What did you say? You said B, or what did you say, A? Or?
I didn't even give it a grade on that. But so for me, I would give it in full vacuum body of work, probably C plus, teetering on a B minus.
Okay.
13th. They were projected to be 13th. Michael Early's job was absolutely in jeopardy in this year. He knew if they had another similar season to last season, there wouldn't be a third opportunity at this, right? And they understood that if the bats didn't come together, this whole thing was going to unravel. They went from 13th to 3rd. They were a regional host. These are all things that are, like you said, becoming standards here. If you're at College Station baseball, you're expected to do this. Check those boxes. What you got to do from this point on, we're having a totally different conversation. If they get to the super regional and get
the whole season's success, you're not supposed to go any further. They could have went 0-2. It would have been irrelevant to the final result.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Irrelevant to the final result.
UNC could sweep the floor with them in Chapel Hill, and people would still look at it in a better taste if they just won that one game. Right, so you're telling me...
People would have complained, but that complaint would have been irrelevant for me.
So we're talking about this team is one win away from changing the complete tide of this whole season.
But they had 2 games to get the 1
right.
2.
You're right.
And got...
You're right.
And got dominated in both games.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right. The fact that they won the first two and you're sitting here sitting high, and I remember coming out of...
And Weston Moss saved you pitching you didn't have.
Yeah.
Saved you pitching you didn't have.
Did not have. And then Clayton Freshcorn comes in and gives you what you had to give you. It's... If you would have told me on Saturday they're 2-0 and they'd come out of this weekend and we wouldn't be making trips to UNC right now, I wouldn't have believed you. But
do you look forward to seeing Clayton Freshcorns on Friday nights next year?
I think, I know you know this. I'm just talking to the masses. Like, it was either him or Aiden Sims that were supposed to win that Sunday job. If you had both of them, you're probably having a different conversation this year.
But then you'd had 0.00 bullpen.
No, yeah, you're right.
We didn't know that because the injuries then hit the bullpen. But you'd had 0.00 bullpen.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020. But what if they didn't just bank on Sadeo being the Friday guy and he became the bullpen guy? Right? And then you're talking Moss, Sims, Clayton Freshcorn. So I mean, again, it's 2020 vision with that. But man, there was just a couple of tweaks, a couple of things. You talk about the fact you never seen Caden McCoy. You saw Josh Stewart arm get injured in non-con. I mean, Gavin Lyons was the Tuesday starter, midweek starter until he became a pivotal middle reliever role. There was so many different situations that unfolded where like you almost had to ask how are they keeping this thing on the tracks a little bit, and then. I guess it fell off the track when it needed it most.
One of the biggest problems I feel like for Aggie Baseball is they fell into the trap of so many A&M sports, and it's the fading down the stretch thing that Aggie fans are just tired of. Because when one team falls down the stretch, you're tapping into all the Aggie teams that have faded down the stretch. In other words, you're getting it exponential. Sure. You don't get graded alone. Because Aggie football did it.
It's fair, yeah.
The last two games.
Yeah, and... it's
Aggie baseball suffered not just from their own losses.
Well, I don't know how you feel about this, but I always think about it, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, like there's always something to the schedule makers trying to have the back end schedule be tough, right? Like they give you Texas on Thanksgiving weekend for a reason, right? They give you LSU baseball towards the end of the year, or they give you whoever. Mississippi State, you look at it, Florida, and like, man, they go what? 1-2 in the final weekend series of the year. Without that Mississippi State one, we talked about, they dropped to 15th, 16th in the rankings, and now you get an even tougher slate. They got an RPI as a 9, USC as a 2 seed. Like things just it unfold that way. And I guess when I say all that to say, end of the year collapses, so to speak, for a lack of a better term, happens when talent and schedules get harder. Right? You go in the playoffs, you're not expected to play bad teams. USC beat you because USC is a damn good baseball team. So unless you win it all, somebody's going to be upset. And I think because they haven't won it all, everyone's going to be upset.
So I got one more grade I'd like to ask you.
Sure.
Since we're looking at that universe today. And this one, what would you give A&M basketball?
I think, we had talked about it. Them winning a tournament game is an absolute winner of a season, right? For them to come in here, have one athlete on the team, debatable if he was even a scholarship athlete at the time, right? Like having Chris.
I kept hearing he's a scholarship, but then I kept hearing he's a walk-on. Yeah, he was a walk-on.
Right. It depended on who you ask. Yeah. But the bottom line is they had one dude on the team, and they went out there and they won a playoff game. NCAA
They
won an NCAA tournament March Madness game. Now they got the doors blown off by a Houston team that was obviously a good basketball team, but. If you're sitting here and you told a lot of A&M fans, hey, we're going to have a brand new head coach who came in late, behind the 8 ball, your best player, Mackenzie Mbaku, would be hurt, and you wouldn't get him in the conference slate at all, and you'd still be a tournament team and you'd win a tournament game, I don't know how you don't look at that as a success, right? Now, it's the kind of opposite of Michael Early, where last year's they had so much hype and expectation and they didn't reach it. This year, there was no hype, there was no expectations, and they exceeded that. So now the floor has been reset. There's a new floor for what Bucky is. It's now the standards that you got to go back and you got to do it again, right? Now you got to get to the second weekend. So absolute 100% success in my mind for basketball.
And the letter grade would be?
B+.
I gave him A-.
That's fair.
I even wanted to give an A, but I was like, okay, maybe that's being too greedy. Because when I took the totality of what he did, 20 wins, NCAA tournament berth, he took over a program that, as you mentioned, had one player late in the portal. Late in the portal. When I factor in every detail, I thought if they made the NIT that he'd probably get an A grade before the season started, to be 100% honest about it. But he made the big dance.
Yeah.
Won a game in the big dance. I keep saying this. I I think it's one of the 5 greatest coaching jobs I've ever seen. And if I need to be specific so people don't want to argue me, one of the 5 greatest year one coaching jobs I've ever seen at A&M. It's unbelievable.
Well, think about this too, because he had told us from the very beginning, like, this is not the roster that I expect to be building with consistently. And how that played out. I mean, you had guys who are no longer here. Pop Isaacs, they made the most of what they could with him, and he got out of Dodge as quick as he could, right? He went to Oklahoma. And then Ruben Dominguez, great shooter, but just wasn't a fit for this style end-to-end floor. To find these pieces, to make them work, and find it to be good enough to be competitive is super impressive.
And both those guys are going to go on and have much better years at the next stops.
At somewhere else.
They're both fitting into better systems. I think Pop's going to be, if healthy, he's going to be great at OU. Yeah.
And so you took a guy like Rashawn Agee, who's like 6'6", and you made him a 5, and you had him go toe-to-toe with these 7-footers and bang it out and get double-doubles and triple-doubles every night. And, like, you just found ways to make it work. Like, and to your credit, that's coaching. That's finding talent. That's putting players in advantageous situations. Giving them an entire offseason, and you've seen what they've done. The floor is way higher than it ever could have been when you thought about a year ago.
Squares and circles. Because some coaches only know how to coach what they know how to coach. Have no adaptability, flexibility. Doesn't matter if it'll work or not, but they only know how to do what they know how to do. And Bucky demonstrated, good God, he just figures out how to win. So with no excuses.
So I mean, obviously we got a lot of time to talk about this, but what now? We can set the standard now and put it on wax poetic here. But is it second weekend or bust?
Yeah, second weekend.
That's it, right?
Because you know what? All he can do is accomplish what every other coach did. Because every other coach A&M's had in recent times, they make the tournament.
Sure.
They win games.
Yeah.
Now for year one, that was walk on water levels for Bucky. We're past year one.
Yeah.
And if he makes the tournament, so did the past 3-4 coaches.
Yeah.
Aggie basketball recent history has success.
Sure.
So if he has success, that's no different.
Right.
Aggie basketball can't make the second weekend. Sweet 16 seems to have a lid on it. There's only 3 times? Is it 3?
Yeah. That sounds right.
If he wants to differentiate and to continue to grow, yeah, it's all about second weekend.
Right.
And then we can start talking about winning on the second week. But making. Just one step at a time, reality.
We're talking progress to wrap it back to baseball. Early made progress. Early lost coaches before the season started. He lost pitchers before the season started. Chris Hakopian, 4 injuries. The kid said he's never been hurt in his career. He got injured 4 times this year. And was a non-factor in the field. You had guys that injuries have been a problem.
Yes,
he's still
for 2 years.
For 2 years now. And that was what derailed them. They were talented last year, but they were banged up more so than this year, actually. I mean, you got 2 guys hitting the face with pitches. Boston Kellner is wearing the Phantom of the Opera, and he's out there playing. So it's just, for what they've done in a vacuum, it was a success, and they have a chance to be better, and I think they will.
When we return, well, more with Tony Catalina, but not just more. Oh, no. Ice cream more. Not 1, not 3, not 5, but 2 Bluebell ice cream reviews. Tony's been busy. He's been hungry. So that's what's up next here on the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Free estimates, military and veteran discounts, they have them at CC Electric. It's the Louie Bellina Show, Wednesday on The Zone.
Sign up for the Zone newsletter and be in the know about community events, contests, prizes, the guest lineup that day, and more.
I love it.
Sign up at zone1150.com.
I'm hanging out with Tony Catalina, Austin American Statesman, inside the Charles Schwab studio. It is the Wednesday edition. Tony loves ice cream. I mean, he's not the only one. There's many people on the planet. But Tony came to us here in Bryan College Station, the Brazos Valley, from somewhere in the... Were you from Boston? You were from Connecticut? Where were you from?
Worcester, Massachusetts.
Like the sauce?
Yes.
Awesome. And he did not know what Bluebell ice cream was. But
did not.
He got here and he quickly found out, Bluebell ice cream is this epic... He hears a choir sing, like he now gets what Bluebell ice cream is. So each week he tries a different flavor and we kind of discuss it and he ranks them here on the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. And I'm a bad talk show host. As a matter of fact, I'm probably the worst sports talk show host within a 2,000-mile radius. I forgot to ask him last week. And the worst part about that is I knew Tony had fell in love because like 2 weeks before, the brand new, he was with us on a Thursday, a rare. Mm-hmm. The brand new Bluebell ice cream flavor hit the market. It was the black raspberry fudge. And we were lucky here at the Bryan Broadcasting Building to get a kind of a sneak peek, or I think it was same day actually, when it hit the stores. And Tony was here, and I'm like, "You want to try ice cream?" And Tony kind of cut me off. It was rude. Before I could even finish asking the question, I just saw his eyes light up. So, without further ado, and if you want to talk about ado, that's all I'm about. Tony, you tried. You said, "Hey, I'm going to do a full review after I buy my own pint and eat more." You didn't want to do it right after a sample. Bluebell. You're first, because we got two today. Black raspberry fudge.
Yes. And like I said, I didn't want to be bought and paid for. That was a free sample. I had to go on my own accord. And it honestly, it was everything I thought it was. My only problem was I went and bought like a pint of it. And it was so good. And I enjoyed it so much that I went to go get it again like a few days later. Just to have, like I already did the review. I already knew what I was going to say. And they ran out. Like where I went, it was already gone. So that if that tells you anything, I think the people will probably agree. I will tell you this. I can't believe I started where I started and how much I like the Grimm's cake, because this one still didn't beat Grimm's cake. Grimm's cake is a 4.5, like we say. We got the whole system, and we're going to come out and we're going to have it fully fleshed out when we hit the 10, like you said. But this one fell right below it at 4.4. So it is number 2, very comfortably number 2 on my list. I love raspberry, and that may be a personal, black raspberry thing.
I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Yeah, and some people are hit or miss on that. But I love black raspberry. You add chocolate to it for me, it's a done deal. You put them together, it had little chunks of chocolate with the fudge swirls in it. It was awesome. It was awesome. Totally. Absolutely will have that again. If I can find it again, I'm going to have to buy that half gallon because it was unbelievable.
I didn't need to know anything else after you said that after you had your sample pint for the review, you kind of immediately within a day had to go buy more. Just no more reviewing, just for you.
That's it.
That's all the review I need to know.
The review was logged. We were ready to talk about it, and I still was like, hey, I got to go get more. I got to go get another one.
Black raspberry fudge hits the 4.4 mark, putting it second.
Comfortable number 2.
And Grimm's cake,
which
is still
number 1 at 4.5. So top 3 now is Grimm's cake, 4.5, black raspberry fudge, 4.4, and cookie two-step at 4.2.
I thought we were going to have a new number 1.
Almost.
I was fully expecting it.
Almost. And so that tells you how I got to stay impartial. This is very serious business we're talking about right here. We're
talking ice cream.
This is real deal. Right.
Some people, Aggie football, 2026, life or death. We're talking ice cream here.
People want to listen to me talk ice cream. They don't care about my sports takes, right? They get their own sports takes. But you want to hear a chubby kid talk about ice cream?
The Louie Bellina Show.
I'm here for you.
The Louie Bellina Show. The home of chubby people talking about ice cream.
So would absolutely, if you haven't gotten it, and based on the way my market was set up, the one I go to, it seems like a lot of people have tried it because I couldn't find it.
Now, I mentioned two ice creams because that was last week, and Tony's like, no, I'm doing one a week.
Yeah.
So in advance of today, you tried a classic. I mean, an absolute classic flavor, and it was the mint chocolate chip.
Yes. And so obviously, like you said, staple everywhere you go. If you any ice cream company you ever tried, they gotta have the mint chocolate chip. It's up there, and this is a divisive one, right? When you talk about mint chocolate chip, you either love this or you hate this. You don't.
It's the mint flavor. Chocolate chip is not divisive.
That's the
part.
But
mint, you're either pro or anti.
Exactly.
There's no middle.
Yeah, it's almost like the parsley gene where it's like, or the cilantro gene where it's like it tastes like soap or it doesn't. But for me, I like mint chocolate chip. This one, if we're being honest, it didn't wow me. It did not wow me. The chocolate chips are great, obviously. The mint wasn't. I want a little bit more minty. I want that. It was creamy. It was obviously the ice cream here. The quality is elite, right? Bluebell ice cream. The ice cream itself is excellent. It didn't have the flavor notes I was looking for. It wasn't the worst one I had, but I got it at 3.7. So it falls in right above the Millennium Crunch at a 3.5. Settled in 3.7. Like I said, if it's 3.5 or higher, I'd get it again, but I'm not going to go at that banging down the door like I would for this.
If someone bought you a pint, you'd gladly eat it.
100%. If this was in here and you're giving free samples again, I'm not going to walk out of here without a scoop of it. But
it's interesting. You said you wanted more minty, and this is a flavor thing in general. This isn't an ice cream thing. But with a flavor like mint that people are yes or no.
Yeah.
The people that want mint you need to make it mint.
Right.
You do this thing where it's a moderate mint. Well, the people that don't like mint are not going to eat it. So you're not going to appease them and go, try it. It's not very minty. That makes no sense.
You're absolutely right.
Because the people that don't like mint and then the people that want mint are going to go, you didn't give me mint.
Exactly.
And I equate it to blue cheese. People either love blue cheese or run to the hills and hate blue cheese.
I love blue cheese.
And then I like blue cheese.
Yeah.
And I'll try something that says blue cheese and I'm like, wait a minute.
That's not it.
There's no blue cheese flavor. So they create something that people that don't like blue cheese can try, but they'll never try it because they don't like blue cheese.
Right.
And people that like blue cheese don't try blue cheese, so they're not going to make it either.
Right.
You can't create these mid flavors on a mint or a blue cheese and flavors of that nature.
Absolutely right. And to stay on the local flair, Wings and More Blue Cheese is my favorite blue cheese I've ever had. So, Wings and More Blue Cheese, shout out to that. But what I will say, you're absolutely right. Like, if you're right, you're not going to cater to the people that don't like the mint. So if you're going to go all in, go all in.
Mint.
It felt like it was right there in that palate cleanser where it was like, yeah, if you like mint, you'll like this. And if you don't, you might be able to get over it, right? You might be able to, because this is mild enough. But you said, I want the full thing. I want the minty, the tridenty, just have it like,
Certain flavors don't have a mid, so don't try and create mid.
Exactly.
Because you end up creating air.
You want mid, get the cherry vanilla because it's a nice subtle flavor with everything. It's like it's a mute tones. Mint is not one of those things you can half step
Or
in.
blue cheese.
Blue cheese. You got to have the chunks of blue cheese in there for me.
979-693-1150. Tony, I got one text message we can wrap things up with, and it's from Jim and Temple. I long ago got tired of all the injury excuses in the A&M baseball program. In addition to pitching coach, they also should hire baseball's version of Tommy Moffitt as the new strength coach. From Jim and Temple.
Sure. It's fair to talk about the injuries. I think some of it is unpredictable. Some of it they're going to have to peek under the hood and see what are they doing and why is it like this, right? I think baseball more than any sport, super unique in the way you kind of have to handle pitchers and players and just how do they stay healthy. I mean, a lot of the times when I talked to Michael Early at the end of the year, they went from playing 4 games a week to, hey, we got a week off. And how do you handle these kids and how do you get them right? Chris Akopian didn't look healthy at all for the final 6 weeks of the season, and you talk about days off with pitchers. So I think some of it, you can't plan for a kid getting drilled in the face with a pitch that breaks his face. Like, you can't plan for, some of these things that happen. But yeah, I would agree more if it was soft tissue. I would agree more if it was something that was muscular. But a lot of times these guys, Jorian, who's the biggest dude probably in the SEC, runs into your star middle bat and he gets hurt and his knee hasn't right for the rest of the year. Some of these things you can't account for. You see Josh Stewart's arm gets hurt, Caden McCoy before the year. It's tough, man. It is tough. But I don't think it would be a wrong idea for them to just take a peek under the hood and be like, what are we doing? What can we do differently? How can we become more preserved as we get down to the end of the year?
You're talking about those cold, hard, honest evaluations.
Yeah. And that's what it's what it's all about. Like, look at, and that this team is not afraid to do that because you look at Coach Early last year, and this is just an assessment from a person who sat through, 90 baseball games now at this point that since I've been here under Michael Early. Last year, he was a young coach, first year in the system, really had his idea of what he wanted the program to look like. It didn't probably come to fruition how he wanted to. This year, he had a different, more serious approach. He had a different just attack of how he was doing things. Not wrong, right, or indifferent, but it seemed to work, and I think he understood. Going into year 3, I think exactly the same thing's going to happen. I think Early's going to open up the hood. He's going to take a look at everything. What didn't work? What did work? Who can I bring in here? Who can I help? And if you're looking for progress, they've shown progress. Now, if there's a flattening out in year 3, then we can have a different conversation a year from now, but there is progress being made. There is things going forward. I think they're going to be in a good spot.
Dude, talk to you next Wednesday.
Absolutely.
More ice cream?
Always.
Be awesome, brother.
You as well.
Tony Catalina of Gig'Em 247 hangs out with us inside the Charles Schwab studio. It's a Wednesday thing here on the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric on the Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Don't ask unless you want the truth, because
you can't handle the truth.
Weekdays, 11 to 2 on the Zone.
Join now, Alan Ward, Brigadoon Brewery. Alan, what's up, dude?
Hey, rocking and rolling here.
Well, that's what Brigadoon Brewery's known for. It's not the beer, it's the rock and roll.
No, it's not the beer. Right now, I'm working on video editing, but right now, it's not the beer.
Ooh. Tell people why you're video editing.
Oh, I'm sure. We're launching a new YouTube channel Our Brigadoon Brewery, we've been promoting craft beer and adult beverages and festivals since we opened up 19 years ago. So we decided to create a new channel called Beermaster General. So it's at Beermaster, one word, dash General. And it's on YouTube. It'll go live sometime this afternoon, tomorrow morning. And what we're doing is going out and videoing different places and describing beers and restaurants and festivals and things. And right now I'm editing the Brewsology, which we went to this last Friday night, which we missed you, Louie. But we thought about you. And we're just doing that. We're a new way to promote beer and help the industry out, because right now we need help in the industry.
So, Alan Ward, Brigadoon Brewery, is opening up a new channel. When you say channel, what, YouTube?
YouTube. So be on YouTube, you go, it says at, and then put Beermaster General, one word. Oh, sorry, Beermaster, one word, dash General.
Beermaster dash General. Beermaster General. And
yep.
Alan has been with me, I don't know, the 14, 15, 16 years now, and he's our Beermaster General. So on YouTube, you can find his channel, which is Beermaster dash General, and he's going to be putting beer content. And right now, over the weekend, Brewsology took place in Houston. They take over the Museum of Natural History, all 3-4 floors. How many breweries were there Saturday?
Oh, there was a ton. I want to say there's probably at least 60, probably.
60 different breweries in the Natural Museum of History. It is easily, I think, one of the greatest beer events. I know you have the Great American Beer Festival, things of that size, but it's easily one of the great beer events of the year. That was down in Houston, and Alan and his beer crew from Brigadoon, how many of them did you get to hit? If it's 60, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't go all 60. I'm counting. We did about 15, or maybe about 15. We'll highlight it on the video. Some of you didn't come out very well. It's kind of hard to hear some of the things inside that. It's not a great filming facility. It is a great beer facility. It's kind of fun, and you get to see a lot of things. So we did about 15 of them. So we had about 30, maybe 36 beers total.
What was the best beer you tried? What was the best beer you tried?
The best beer I had. That's a hard one. I was kind of looking over those right now. And maybe, I'm going to go with Hazy Lady from Blackwater Draw.
Oh, that's a high compliment.
Hey, that was good with Shofu had their cherry there. And the nice thing about it, there's something for everybody. And that's the nice part about it. There's all kind of things. Megaton has had a great sour. I don't like sours, but that Megaton sour was good. It's a rare place to go and try different things. It's one price to get in, and you can try all the beers you want to. Now, keep in mind, we're not talking about 24-ounce or 12-ounce pours. We're talking about a 4-ounce, 6-ounce pour, depending on where you're at, what size your class you had. But we had the VIP passes. We got in, you get food. So a part of that pass is you get $30 in food, so you get you there, and the rest of it's beer. And if you don't like it, you can just pour it out and try something different. So that's the nice thing about it. And as far as being a great event, it's inside. So a lot of beer festivals in Texas are outside. Of course, we love the outside weather here in Texas so much. But this way, you can get inside. It's cool. See a lot of science stuff there. And it's probably the best one in the area. You mentioned Great American Beer Festival. That's great, but you got to fly to Denver to do that.
Yeah.
Some small expense to it. That's also in the fall. I've only been there a couple of times myself because the Renaissance Festival kind of conflicts with that. That's good. Our second time doing. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the second time doing this one. Last year you did with us. This year you didn't make it, but we had a good time. And it's something, if you've not been to Beer Festival, go and try it. The nice thing I really like about it, it's inside. So they have inside plumbing. My Brewmaster Chief, my wife here, she likes clean, good inside restrooms. Who can blame her? So they got inside restrooms, AC, weather, climate controls, no rain, no thunder, no lightning, no hailstorms or whatever else. So it's nice that we have something inside, and it's got a lot of nice science around it too. It's really nice. They do a good job putting it on.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, I got to go last year, and I thought it was one of the best events I attended for the whole year. And there's something about having a beer festival inside a museum. The backdrop, just all of it, framing it, just added this very cool element. It helped with the flow of traffic. The people there were incredible. 60 breweries, as you mentioned. Really wished I could have went this year. Aggie Baseball with the regional. A lot of work, a lot of different things were going on at the time. And, of course, anytime I get to see you and the brew crew is a great time for me. And beer doesn't hurt, too. Maybe the beer makes you guys better. I don't know.
Yeah, beer makes us better, much better. Beer helps my looks and our crew generally You have a beer too. We're much nicer people to look at. But we'll get you next year. Come out there. We'll do it again next year. Really nice event. Like I said, it's really well done, and that's the big thing. You got a lot of beer festivals. It's not well done. There's no bathrooms, no ice, whatever else. Everything is really well done. And like you said, the nice thing about it is, in the background of the museum, that you can see things you may not ordinarily go to look at. Dinosaur bones, and you got coins and all kind of artifacts. It's just a really nice event. We were 7-Eleven, really nice evening. Parking was free when you got there, so wasn't any charge for parking. It's a really nice event.
So we're visiting with Alan Ward, Brigadoon Brewery. He joins us on the Deep Land Services hotline a couple of times a month. We check in with Alan Ward of Brigadoon Brewery. I saw finally on social, I already knew this because you told us, but Southern Star Brewing, I kept wanting to believe it wasn't real because I remember their peak and heyday, and they had some of the must-try Texas craft beers at one time, and I'm still struggling with the fact that they're going out of business. Is it June 23rd or something?
I believe that's their last day, correct. I've known about this for quite a while, actually, being inside and talking to people and knowing people who are there. Unfortunately, it's a sign of the industry right now. And keep in mind, I believe, Southern Star is probably one of the first ones that can in the state of Texas. They've been around for a long, long time. It was founded by some guys out of St. Arnold, St. Arnold, and they went to start their own brewery. Dave Fougeron did that. He did a great job with it. Dave sold his shares out about a year ago, and, they are having some troubles in the industry, and it just got worse and worse. And so it sounds easy to run a brewery. It is not. And the current environment right now, there's a lot of breweries closing, and I expect there's a lot more will be closing. People's palates have changed. You were talking earlier about, you don't want to pay for the price of beer at the ballpark. Where does the beer come from? The beer comes from the brewery. So if you don't buy beer at the ballpark, the brewery can't sell the beer there. So it's less sales. And your stuff's going up. Gas is going up. Everything else is going up. Well, hops and grain are going up. But keep in mind, the shipment and all that stuff's going up. So at some point, the customer, number one, is too expensive for them. Number two, we've changed a lot of palates across the United States. There's less alcohol being drunk. I saw the other day on the Brewers Association said that, and we're 35% down in drinking over the last 40 years. We've dropped down that much over the last 40 years. And the newer, younger generation are not drinking, number one, as much, if at all. And they're doing more distilled spirits and more wine because they believe it's healthier for them. And that's a personal choice, and I support that. But as industries, it's difficult when the price of products go up, and you got to pay your employees, and their salaries go up. So you're looking at a lot of these smaller mom and pop shops and smaller breweries are difficulty struggling with it because it's expensive to be in business. And unfortunately, Southern Star was in that position. The new owners came in; they tried to change some stuff up, but I think sometimes it's too little, too late. And the industry right now is really, really finicky and tough. And you're going to see more close. And I did one in Austin close too, I believe, yesterday. So there'll be more closing, unfortunately.
You and I, over the years now, actually, have talked about the why. Why is the craft brewery shrinking? Why is people drinking less alcohol? And I read something every month. There's a story or another, post about why. I think the answer is all of it. I don't think there's one why. I do think that if you can list 5 reasons why, I think it's all of it is the why.
I agree. It's a combination. And like most things in the world, it's not just one thing causing an issue. It's a lot of little things put together. When you add those 4 or 5 or 6 things together, they may not sound big and separate. When you add them together, though, it can be deadly and detrimental to an industry, period. We have that way with a lot of things in the world right now. And I don't know the answer to that question. The places who are doing okay right now still are local mom and pops, local breweries that have a local clientele that come in and drinking the beer at the brewery. And they're enjoying at the brewery.
And that's where craft beer started. That's the OG places.
It is. And I think we're going back to that. You have to, because you can't get, when you look at the grocery stores, my local grocery store, the beer section for craft beer is shrinking. I mean, it's miniature now, like it used to be big. So we're going back to those phases. And kind of going back, like, and originally in Germany and in England, the beer was made locally and drank locally. And you're going back to that. If you own your building, own your property, if you have a reason for people to come, you're going to make it for a little while longer, I think. But as people get older and the younger generation comes in, they're not drinking as much, health things, whatever else, I saw some other days that some of these diet shots change your taste buds, or alcohol doesn't taste good anymore. So that's a big thing. People on these GL1s, GLPs are not drinking as much because they're on the diet, losing weight, and things don't taste the same to them. But it's all the little things put together, unfortunately. So we're going to try and promote, get things out there, and keep those that are in business still online and support them. And if you're drinking, I support you to drink in moderation. You go out and visit your local brewery. If you like your local brewery, go visit them, buy something, because they need your help, trust me.
Amen to that one. Alan, thank you always. Have fun. And look, make sure you let me know when you start having things up at, Beermaster General on YouTube, because when you start getting the content out there, I know I'm going to watch it. I know the beer lovers here would like to check it out too.
We'll release it starting, probably, like I said, by tomorrow morning. I'll have things finished up, and then we'll release, this will be a long one. We'll do some shorter ones, some shorter breweries trips, and that's what we got planned this rest of the summer and fall. And some things at Renaissance Festival also. I'll get the things out there. And just a little bit of travel information, and help spread the word.
Dude, just let me know. I'll share with the world. All 5 people hanging out with us.
All 5 of y'all, and the cows. Don't forget the cows. Cows are important.
Be awesome, brother. Thank you always, man. Mission. Be good.
Take care, Louie.
Later. Alan Ward of Brigadoon Brewery. We check in with him a couple of times a month. He's our beer master general. And next time when we check in, he'll have his monthly beer recommendations for us. If you need help with your land clearing, land excavation, land fixed up, d4landservices.com. Forestry, mulching, pond construction, heck, metal buildings, custom metal buildings from the ground up. Check out d4landservices.com. Up next, we got to wrap up Wednesday on the Louie Bellina Show on The Zone.
Your home for the Houston Astros is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
I did want to wrap up in the lifestyles portion. Not a lot of time left, but on this day, June 3rd, back in the day on June 3rd, in 1800, 226 years ago, that's 1800. That's a long time ago. I don't think the Louie Bellina Show was even on the air yet. President John Adams moved to Washington, D.C. The White House wasn't finished yet. He moved into a room above a tavern, did President John Adams. In 1888, and that's 138 years ago, but on June 3rd, 1888, the poem Casey at the Bat by Ernest Lawrence Thayer was first published, and it was in the San Francisco Daily Examiner. He earned $5 for that. In 1946, June 3rd, 1946, 80 years ago, Jacques Heim, a French fashion designer, debuted a 2-piece bathing suit in Paris, and he called it the Bikini. And that was after the Bikini Atoll Islands in the South Pacific. On this day, June 3rd, 1988, and that was 38 years ago, the Tom Hanks comedy Big was released. On this day in 2008, June 3rd, 2008, 18 years ago, Weezer released the Red Album. And finally, June 3rd, 2016, and that was 10 years ago, Muhammad Ali passed away at the age of 74. So on this day in history, June 3rd, I don't know, not every day, but some days, looking back on what else happened in the universe on this day in history. Just some of the things my mind floats to here on the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. I got to go. Studio 12 live next. Paul Feinbaum Show at 2 o'clock. Chip Howard Sports Talk at 4 o'clock. Astros Baseball 6:40 against the Pirates. Skeens versus Arrighetti. And Astros Baseball thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. Peace out. Have an amazing Wednesday, everybody.